Do me for hold this L.
Hold this L.
Hold this L.
Welcome to another episode of Hold This L with your host, Lonnie and Cappel. We got a great show lined up for y'all. But before we get started, what's going on with you today, man? How your week been?
Oh man, been great. Another day in paradise. Everything's been going good, man. Happy wife.
Happy
Job
life.
going great. Yeah, you're right about that. So, everything's been real good. What about on your end? What you got going on?
Same here, man. Same here. Everything going good, enjoying life right now. I got my COVID vaccines, both shots. So, I'm feeling a little better, even though I'm still doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm still wearing my mask. I'm still using sanitizer and all that good stuff. But yeah, life is good, man. Can't complain.
Nice.
So before we get into our debate topics, we had a retirement this week. NBA, I wouldn't say Hall of Famer, because who knows? I really don't know. Maybe that's a topic we could debate one day, whether Lamarcus Aldridge will be a Hall of Famer, but he did retire. He had a great career. And, let's just touch on that real quick. So what's your thoughts about Lamarcus Aldridge?
One of the things for me about Lamarcus that I always liked him.
Yeah.
In his own right, I won't say superstar, but he was always a really, really good player. He was a star. He was an all-star for sure.
Yeah.
He always played the game the right way, in my opinion. I never had a reason to knock anything Lamarcus Aldridge ever did, said, on or off the court. Though, one thing that I always say about any famous person, not necessarily just athletes, but to be able to keep your private life private is a very difficult thing to do. And it's one thing I can say about Lamarcus Aldridge, I don't know a lot about his private life.
Yeah.
You just know about what he did on the court. I mean, that's pretty much all you know. So with that being said, I mean, any athlete that has been to the caliber and I think to the levels he's been, never to hear anything bad about him, never to hear anything negative, is always a positive for me, for any famous player, let alone athlete, with all the things that they have going on. So for me, I mean, much respect to him. Always loved his game. So man, I wish him well. I know he found, I think, an irregular heartbeat or something like that. So I wish him well in future endeavors and hope for the best for him. But as a player, man, I really liked him as a player. I want you to go as strong as love, but I always liked him as a player.
Yeah, I liked him too. He was the type of guy where you just seen he didn't really do anything to make you dislike him. He played, he had a good game. I liked his game. He had that inside out game. He could, hit that mid-range jumper, but he could play with his back to the basket. I would have loved to see what would have happened if he would have stayed with Dame, because that his game could have really helped propel the Portland Trailblazers. Because people probably don't really think about it because it didn't really hold a whole lot of weight. But Portland made it to the conference finals a couple years ago. What if Lamarcus Aldridge would have been there? But outside of that, he had a really great career. I can see him in the conversation for Hall of Fame years from now. He did put up some good numbers as for a career, and he had an irregular heartbeat. He at his age where he's older, and he felt like it wasn't worth the risk to continue playing. He made lots of money, millions of dollars. I'm pretty sure he's going to be taken care of for the rest of his life, and he just wants to enjoy his life. So I respect that. So kudos to Lamarcus Aldridge. And hey, who knows? He may decide to come back after he, he might get that itch and realize his irregular heartbeat maybe wasn't as serious as he thought. He may come back next year. Who knows? But for now, good career, Lamarcus Aldridge, and congrats on a good career. So, keeping it with basketball, there were some controversial comments made, or what were deemed controversial comments by Ben Simmons in reference to the Brooklyn Nets. And so let's get into that. If you don't mind, let the viewers know the gist of those comments and what was said by Mr. Simmons.
Well, basically, this is the way I took it. This is the way I perceived those comments. I perceive those comments as, basically, we ain't worrying about Brooklyn. Brooklyn is not our problem. Brooklyn is not who we gunning for. We gunning for the Lakers. Ben, you got to get there. You got to get to the Lakers. And the thing is, with that being said, I'm pretty sure me and you could agree that the path to get to the Lakers this year is probably going to be in Brooklyn. So I just sometimes I feel like there's certain things you just don't say. You know that saying some things are better left unsaid?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those situations. Sometimes you just let a sleeping dog lie. We understand. We all know Brooklyn don't play no defense. And they are amazing on offense. But to come out and say it, you know, when you point things out to people, what they tend to do? Focus on trying to get better at it because you pointed it out. And you're using that as the reason why they won't beat you. Well, guess what they're going to do? If they don't do it against anybody else, guess what they're going to do harder against y'all than any other team they play? Play defense. Or try at least. I mean, it's going to be a try because they really just can't play defense. It ain't like they don't want to play defense. They just terrible at it. But they will try a lot harder on defense than what they probably would have did before those comments. Even though, don't get me wrong, Ben, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, dude playing lights out on defense this year. Man, I saw a clip, I think yesterday, where a dude was at the top of the key, messed up a pass, ran to the 3-point line in the corner and ended up blocking the shot. Like, dude's all over the place. He's killing it on defense this year. But to just come out and say that and say the road to the finals, we ain't even worried about Brooklyn. We worried about the Lakers. They're the defending champs. I don't think that was a wise comment to make.
Well, I completely disagree. I'm not saying that he should have or shouldn't have made the comment, but I don't think anything was actually wrong with the comment, simply because, you know, he's speaking his truth. You know, he was asked a question about, you know, I forget the actual question, but he was asked a question and he responded the way he truly felt about it. And from a player perspective, if I know I'm on a championship caliber team, a team that has expectations to win the chip, then I'm only worried about the team that's favored to win the chip, the team that won it the year before. You're right. You got to get there, but nobody in the Eastern Conference, in the Eastern Conference outside of Miami, like they all on the same page. And I say Miami because there's a championship last year, but we all know that was pretty fluky. You know, we don't really look at Miami as, oh, they defended Eastern Conference champs, you got to go through them. Nah, I mean, Philadelphia has every chance to get there, like as Brooklyn, and has every chance to get there like Milwaukee. Because those pretty much are three teams that people gunning for, and Ben knows that, so he also recognizes that defense wins championships, and he recognizes, because he has a very high IQ. He's been, people have said this several times, and it's the truth. He's a jump shot away from being LeBron James 2.0. Everything about LeBron James you see in his game outside of being able to shoot the ball, which means that the IQ he has. And he sees Brooklyn. He sees that they can score, but they don't, play defense. And he also sees that they're a team who hasn't had a lot of court time together. Those things matter. That fluidity matters. And is it impossible for Brooklyn to make it to the finals without all that time? No, it's not. But why should he kowtow to the idea of playing against Durant and Harden and Irving, when just because the rest of us who watch basketball look at them and say, oh, this is the team to beat. You got to beat them to get to the finals. Why? It's not like they won the Eastern Conference before, and it's a proven thing. Like when Cleveland was winning every year, yeah, you could say it then. Like, they would have been stupid if Brooklyn had been winning the last 3-4 years. Oh, we got to beat Brooklyn. We got to worry about them, because they the team to beat. They've been to the championship 3 or 4 years in a row. They ain't been nowhere. They ain't done nothing. You don't get kudos and that kind of respect, in my opinion, just because you got this team. Lots of teams have built these superstar teams, and they haven't got the job done. It's not 100% written in stone. So from a player perspective, I have no problem with what he did, and I truly don't believe he took a dig at them. I believe his focus is what he said. That's what I truly believe. And
he took a dig.
So
he took a dig.
I think people look at it that way. I think
that last little piece, That last little part of the statement.
What was tell me what part you're talking about?
Basically, he said, "Look, I understand they got a great team, and and they can score points, but you got to play defense."
Did he say something that wasn't true?
No.
Okay, then how's that taking a dig?
Because just because
he was asked about Brooklyn, right?
Yeah,
was he asked about Brooklyn?
Just because it was the truth, don't mean it wasn't a dig. I mean. Look, this is my thing. No, I agree. Let me be clear. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I feel like Ben is right. I'm not saying he's not right. I'm saying some things are better left unsaid. Some things you just don't say. It wasn't necessary to say, we ain't worrying about Brooklyn. Bro, you light a fire sometime that don't need to be lit.
But sometimes you light a fire in the opposite end too. Sometimes your teammates rally behind your comments and they get it done. It goes both ways. It's not one-sided.
But they already been killing it. I don't need no more motivation. I don't need you to give them none.
Look, that's the thing. I mean, it's perspective. I've never been one to be like, okay, don't wake a sleeping giant. I'm like, if I'm out there knowing that I got game and my team it can compete, then if I'm not going to shy away from saying what is the truth. I'm not going to say unnecessary things that I feel are unnecessary. Like I'm not going to say, man, they trash. We ain't worried about them. I'm not going to say that kind of stuff, but I'm going to, like what Ben said, I can see myself saying something like that. And in my mind, I didn't say nothing wrong. I didn't say anything.
He didn't.
No, when I say wrong, I don't mean wrong factually. I mean feelings wise. Like what I said was my mindset. It has nothing to do with it's like when you say taking the dig, or when people say taking the dig, I interpret that as I know what I'm saying, and I'm saying it like I'm purposely trying to get you in a spot. And I don't believe he did that, is what I'm saying.
No.
So when I say I don't think he took a dig, I don't think he purposely said that like as a negative thing towards Brooklyn. I believe that's what he truly believes about that team, and that's what he believes that they can capitalize off of when they play against them. So I don't believe he took a dig, because I think taking a dig is like personal, it's like intentional. I don't believe he was intentionally trying to come down on them.
See, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying except the dig part. Like I say, a dig does not have to be intentional. You can do it and not realize you did it.
That's the other person's perception of the dig. I'm speaking about the perception of the person that said it. So like if I say something, if you take it that way, own that for yourself. But you can't tell me I took a dig. So what I'm saying is I don't think Ben Simmons took a dig. The Brooklyn Nets might take it as a dig, but I don't think Ben Simmons said it with that intention, is what I'm saying.
I do.
Now, you could be right, but I don't think he did.
The way he's playing defense this year, and the way Philadelphia plays defense, I don't think it was nothing but a dig. I think it was his way of saying, we can shut them down. We can stop them. They can't stop us.
But and that's the truth. Like, still, I don't think that's a dig, because he's right. They're balanced on both sides of the ball. They can score, really, and they can play good defense.
Don't get me wrong.
Now, a lot of people will look at that and be like, "Oh, nah, Philly ain't got no chance against Brooklyn," because they see Brooklyn can put up bunches of scores.
They can too,
but Philly can put up scores too. Like if they need to run and gun, they can. And I still am not one of the people that's on the camp that Ben Simmons has to be able to shoot the ball to win. I still don't believe that in a 7-game series, if people can just simply like play back on him and they'll be able to stop Philly. I believe that the key to Philly winning is Embiid, and I believe it always was Embiid. And I believe that right now, the way Embiid is playing, I could clearly see them going to the finals. I can see them beating Brooklyn. I'm not saying that's my pick. I'll save that for later. But I could see it. I could see Milwaukee. I could see Milwaukee giving Brooklyn a run for their money. Maybe not winning.
I don't expect Brooklyn to get to the finals. They're not like you. First of all,
I didn't say expect. I said I can see it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I don't see Brooklyn getting to the finals. I see Philadelphia getting there. I don't see Brooklyn.
Oh no. That's what I meant. Philly. Did I say Brooklyn? I meant Philly.
You said Philly. Oh, that's
okay.
why that's what I was saying. That's why I was agreeing with you and saying I don't see Brooklyn getting there. I don't see Brooklyn. First of all, it's the points you made earlier about no cohesiveness. I don't care if it's James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie. I don't care. They ain't played a full game together as far as their starting five. Or I don't think they played a full game of minutes together. I don't think they played a total of 48 minutes together as a
Like with
starting
a full
five.
rotation,
You know,
somebody's always been on restriction or
it's
somebody's
always
always been out of
somebody's
the
hurt,
game. You're right.
somebody's out. Nobody they've played like 2 or 3 games where all of them actually played.
Yeah.
And it was only for a few minutes because I think, still. But my thing is they don't play defense. And I don't care what nobody say. I've seen NBA players come back off injury, been sitting out for months and doing this. Sometimes the only person I've seen that this does not affect is LeBron James. Dude could be sitting out for 6 months, come back like he ain't missed a beat. Everybody else looks rusty.
And that's because he orchestrates the offense.
Yeah, but even he looks rusty, but his rush usually is in turnovers. Not in gameplay.
Yeah, you're right.
His rust is usually in turnovers, but most people, their shots off. They need a couple of games. They need to get back in the rhythm. He just turns the ball over more when he's rusty. Yeah. But it don't take him time to get back in rhythm. Other than him, I've never seen anybody else be able to do it. So to tell me all 3 of these guys going to come back, be in rhythm, be on point, come play. The only reason we even giving Brooklyn a chance, let's be clear about it. And let's be honest. You may agree with me. You may not. It ain't James Harden or Kyrie. It's because they have Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. They have freaking Kevin Durant. As long as you have Kevin Durant on your team, you always gonna be in the conversation when you have the pieces around him that can ball.
I agree, and I will say this. I know we that's not the actual topic. We didn't got into talking about.
Yeah, we got it kind of off.
But before we move on to the next topic, I will say this: Kyrie ain't shown us that he could lead a team. James Harden, I'm talking about to a championship. James Harden ain't showed us that he can lead a team to a championship, and neither has Kevin Durant. People forget, like and we all knew this was going to happen. We all knew at the end of the day, people going to look at the fact that he won championships and be like, oh, he's a 2-time champion, 2-time MVP. But I will never forget that he did that with a team that was fully loaded, that didn't need him to win a championship, and he just came and jumped on the bandwagon. He wasn't the leader of that team. Steph was still leader of the team. Just because he was the best player, he wasn't the leader of that team. He wasn't the one that had to get everybody on board and had to calm everybody down and had to do what a leader does. He didn't do what Michael Jordan did. He didn't do what LeBron James did. He didn't do what Dirk Nowitzki did. He didn't do what Kobe Bryant did. So nobody on that team, in my opinion, is proven when it comes to championship level basketball. Nobody. And I believe NBA players believe the same thing. I believe that, you know what I'm saying? So
I'll give you that.
Once he does it, I'll give him more kudos. But until then, nobody on that team is a true leader and can push that team over the hump because none of them have ever done it. When Kevin Durant had his chance to do it, he couldn't do it, and he ran from OKC. James Harden ran. Kyrie Irving ran. They all ran. So, anyways.
Yeah, Kyrie ran and found out real quick he wish he could have ran back.
Mm-hmm. So next topic, let's move on to a little football. So we got the NFL draft is coming up pretty soon, and it's been a lot of conversation about these quarterbacks. So the four quarterbacks in the conversation: Trevor Lawrence, of course, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, and Zach Wilson. Now, these 5 quarterbacks are expected to all be taken in the first round. But the real question is, which one of these quarterbacks is going to have the best NFL career? Who's going to be the best quarterback? So have at it, bro.
For me, it's pretty easy. And I'm going to tell you, bro, I'm praying with everything in me. With everything in me. You see that team back there. I'm praying with everything in me they taking. Justin Fields. I feel like he's the most athletic. He's probably the biggest or one of the bigger out of all of them. You don't really look at him when you see him. I mean, when you see him on the field, you don't look at it, but Justin Fields like 6'3", 220, 225, something like that. He a big dude, and he has a crazy good arm. Accurate. He has all the tools that you want on top of durability. And everything that I see out of him, don't get me wrong, I see a lot out of Trevor Lawrence too. But Justin Fields, there's something about him. To me, he's bigger. He's just bigger. He's stronger. Smarts wise, I can't really get into that yet. But as far as reading the field and everything that I've heard about Justin Fields, everybody's been impressed with everything that they've, the questions, reading the defense, because that's one of the knocks they have on him is reading defenses. Well, everybody's been impressed with him in the film rooms and stuff like that based on his decision making and what he would do and not do in situations. So for me, it's Justin Fields all day. It's Justin Fields all day, bro. That's who I want. That's who I want. I want him at number 3. I'm praying for it. I'm hoping for it.
So I pay attention to the not just, the athleticism, but crunch time. Like, how did you play under pressure? How did you play when you played against teams that equally match you? And I think Justin Fields is a phenomenal athlete. I think he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback. He can throw the ball. One of the knocks that I've heard, like you said, is, how does he read defenses? Well, I heard a stat, and I can't give you the exact numbers of the stat, but it's pretty astounding that the majority, like vast majority, like up to 90% of his throws go to the first person that he's looking to throw it to. Like, he doesn't go through progressions, hardly ever went through progressions. And he also doesn't throw the receiver open. He throws to the receiver once they're open. Now, things that can be worked on, of course, but it's hard to project how a player is going to, how good a quarterback is going to be. And if you don't know if they can do that, like, is he going to be able to get it? Who knows? I don't know. Definitely, in my opinion, Justin Fields is the best prospect. And what I mean by prospect, he's not like a Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a true prospect. What I mean is he has the best attributes, the strength, the height, the speed. If you just would look at these guys and say, wow, which one do I want to take a gamble on and say they're going to be the best one? You're right, Justin Fields. But I like to go off of players who I think can grow and they are at a level where they cognitively understand the game. And I'm going to be honest with you, you're definitely not going to agree, and a lot of people wouldn't. But it's Mac Jones, man. I had to think about Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. I honestly think Zach Wilson is better than Mac Jones. But I'm saying Mac Jones because I think that he's going to be a 49er. And the reason why I think he's going to have the best career, because remember, that's what we're talking about, the best career, is because of who's drafting him. He's going to an offensive-minded coach who knows how to work with quarterbacks. He's going to a team that has weapons everywhere, and a running game, and an offensive line, and a great defense. Mac Jones is the type of quarterback who can start off like Tom Brady did, don't have to do too much, and then turn into a great pro, where Justin Fields could be a quarterback who does that, or he could be one who makes a lot of mistakes because he's trying to do too much, because he doesn't understand the game just yet. So me personally, when we talk about the career aspect, because of the draft, because of where they're going, Trevor Lawrence, I think, is a great prospect, but I can't see him doing anything because he's going to Jacksonville. I just can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach Wilson, same thing, going to the Jets. He's going to the same situation that Sam Darnold going to. I can't see him doing nothing different than Sam Darnold. Maybe the coach is going to change the culture, but I have to see more offensive players to see them doing well. Mac Jones, if he goes to the 49ers, he is in prime position to have a great career, man.
Right. But see, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that's the other person. That's if they're not going to take Justin Fields, that's who I would like.
Yeah.
But the same things you just said about Mac Jones, I feel the same way about Justin Fields. You put him in that 49ers offense with Mike Shanahan. Now, keep in mind, we are talking about an offensive guru who makes your reads pretty easy. You don't have usually if you look at the 49ers offense and the way they run it, you don't have to go through 4 or 5 different reads. It's just not built that way. It's a lot of misdirection. It's a lot of confusion, different things like that. And I feel like Justin Fields is perfect for it. The spread, the way we like to run the ball. Of course, the zone reads. I think that stuff would benefit him tremendously because
those things would
also a threat to run the ball, along with Raheem Mostert back there. And now you got bootlegs coming out with George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, who they can also run the ball and out of the back. But I just think it brings a dynamic and a threat that you can't defend.
You're right. The thing is Mike Shanahan going to be that quarterback? I mean, that coach, because traditionally he has liked and worked with pocket passer type quarterbacks. And Justin Fields does not fit that description based off of his college career. Can he be that quarterback is the question. Because if he can, hands down, Justin Fields is going to be better than all of them. Like, he just has all the tools that you really want in a quarterback. He just has to get the cerebral part. And I'm saying get it. He may have it, but he didn't get a chance to showcase it at Ohio State.
Right.
So quarterback, people say, well, Mac Jones, you give any quarterback, people like Devontae Smith and Waddle and the running backs they had, because he's throwing to a lot of wide open people. That's true. But look at the type of offense they ran. They ran a pro-style offense. He showed accuracy when he needed to. Every pass he made was not wide open. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Mac Jones can read a defense. He can go through progressions, And so that's the only reason why I would say he's going to have the best career out of all of them. Now, if Mac Jones was to go to another team, then I'm not saying that. If the conversation is who do we think is the best quarterback, take away the team they go to and just say, who I think is the best quarterback. Like, let's use the San Francisco 49ers, because we pretty much can agree that out of all the teams that's going to draft a quarterback, San Francisco clearly the best one. Mm-hmm. If they were the first pick, then I would say, not first pick, but if whoever San Francisco would have picked is a person that I would say is going to have the best career. To be completely honest, but as far as the best quarterback, if the question was which quarterback do we think is more likely to take a team like Jacksonville and make them a powerhouse, I would probably say somebody like Justin Fields, because mm-hmm. you would need his type of ability. You would need that Deshaun Watson, that Patrick Mahomes, that Russell Wilson. You would need that dynamic type of player. You couldn't be just that prototypical pocket passer because you don't have the weapons.
Right.
You would need to be that person that can get out of the pocket, make plays, make things happen, will your team to win the game. Justin Fields is the only one. Maybe Trey Lance, but we haven't seen enough of him. Justin Fields is the only one, in my opinion, that could do that. So I'm not against anything you're saying about Justin Fields. I just think because of the projections of the draft, I think that the 49ers are going to take Mac Jones simply because he's more of a fit of quarterback that Mike Shanahan is used to. And his offense, like a lot of times these coaches, they have a way that they want to run their offense. Mm-hmm. Mike Shanahan is never – the way he calls plays, the type of quarterback, even looking for Jimmy Garoppolo, I feel like he's the type of offensive coordinator who wants a pocket passer. Because he's going to have to change his – he may have to change his offense somewhat if he drafts Justin Fields.
Right. But I feel like all you're doing is upgrading to Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0 by just drafting Mac Jones. Don't do it, Niners. Don't do it, y'all.
I don't believe he's drafting a Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0. I believe Mac Jones is like, if I had to guess what type of quarterback Mac Jones closely resembles, it would be somebody like Justin Herbert, somebody who can read defenses, who can pass the ball, who makes plays, but not with their legs.
I hope you're right.
Like a young person. Now, I didn't want to compare him to somebody who's like great, like Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm not going to do that. But like a young person that just came out. To me, he's like a Justin Herbert. You give him weapons, he can do his thing. Because Justin Herbert had weapons. He just didn't have good coaching and they have a good team. But he had weapons, and with the weapons and Mac Jones, he got weapons.
See, the only thing I'm worried about with Mac Jones, man, name me a successful Alabama quarterback that's came out.
I'll give you that. But let me ask you this though: why do you think Nick Saban all of a sudden start throwing the ball like that? You think he changed his offense up because he just felt like it? No,
I think he
finally had a 5-star quarterback that could do it.
No, but he did it. He did it. He changed it up with Tua.
He
But my
did,
thing,
but he
I
had
feel like
somebody that came in right behind to it that could
he
still
did,
do the same.
but
things.
he also had the receivers.
That's true too.
You know, because if you think about Alabama always had that one great receiver. Now they got like 4. You had one Julio Jones.
But think about it. We say they always had that one great receiver, but those like Calvin really was there with Julio. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of the other. Was it Ruggs? Ruggs was there with Calvin Ridley. Like all those guys was like successors. They was there together. It's just that one stood out above the other until they left. Why? Because they didn't have the quarterback that moved the ball down the field like that. They relied on the running game, and then they had a receiver who was dynamic. But you had a quarterback that can throw the ball to these guys. Now you can put 3 of them out there, and they all score 2 touchdowns because the quarterback is able to So it's many ways you can look at it. I agree. Justin Fields is dynamic, and he's probably the best prospect out of the 5. But for this conversation about best career, I think it's going to be Mac Jones going.
He better go to the 49ers. No. No. I want Justin Fields. No. See, in all seriousness, no. I would be happy with either one of them. I think they're both going to be really good NFL quarterbacks. If I had my pick, it's Justin, but I wouldn't. I'm not going to be mad with either one of them.
Not unless the one they pick fails.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's especially if the one that they pick that I don't like fails.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So anybody holding this L for the week, man? Anybody holding the L for the week?
Of course. I mean, I told you should know there's going to be one every week. Michael
Rappaport is holding every week.
I'm telling you, I meant that. I meant that. I am going to bring him up every week. He's still holding it. But as far as I don't really have anybody that I could come out and say really did anything too stupid, which is hard to say when it comes to sports. So, I will say this week, I think I'm just Michael gonna be my only guy. I'm gonna take a break on giving an L this week.
I mean, I got an L, and it's not a huge L, but I'm gonna give it anyways because people got their different opinions about this dude's behavior and how he chooses to handle situations, and it just rubs me the wrong way how he chooses to handle the situations. But it's Kyrie Irving, like this dude takes how many? I mean, this dude take personal days like I don't understand why it's accepted. You play basketball. You play a game where people spend money to come see. Now, I get it. We're in a pandemic, so you don't really have fans and stuff like that. But if I was on this cat team, I would be upset that he's taking all these days off. These are not injury days. These are not even load management days, because of back-to-backs. This is you taking personal days. First, you take days off because you got to deal with some issues. You're going through whatever. Then you take days off. Now, the one legit time that I would be like, cool, was when he had his child. No problem with that. But all these other personal days, he didn't play most of last year at all. And he was super vocal about not playing when he wasn't even in the conversation to play in the first place. Then he comes back this year, and he's missed over 15 games. And out of those 15 games, I think 2 of them were the personal days for his child. Come on, Kyrie. You want to win a championship, but you also have to realize that what you're doing is not conducive to winning the championship. Like, if you want to take the fans part out of it, if you want to take, it's not good for the game. Fans want to see this. Fans want, they got marquee games against the Lakers. Fans want to see you. Forget that part. I'm talking about from the perspective of you as a player. How can you not think that what you're doing is not going to hurt your team? And I honestly believe that he thinks that because he's so good and James Harden so good and Kevin Durant so good that they can just get on the court and turn it on when they feel like it. And I really believe he feel like the Lakers are not a threat. I think he looks at his team as like the Golden State Warriors team. And he doesn't realize that their team, number one, was a team. It was a cohesive team. Kevin Durant was one piece they added to a well-oiled machine. Their team, they wasn't well-oiled at all.
Right.
Not even with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. You know, they still have to figure out their identity. So I'm giving Kyrie this L because I don't think he understands what it takes to be a champion. He was on a championship team, but I think he took for granted all the hard work that LeBron put into that team to make them winners. Kyrie was there for the ride, and he just don't get it. So hold this L, Kyrie Irving. A lot of people may not agree, but
I really like that one.
Gotta hold this L
like that. He's treading Michael Rappaport status.
You're right, because we've given him an L about 2 times this year at least. I think I know this is not the first time, bro. You know,
we could literally no joke. We could give him an L every week for
I'm pretty
something.
sure.
There's something he does every week that you can be like, what is this cat talking about? What is he thinking? What is he doing? I mean, every week.
Absolutely.
So
right.
I mean, with that being said, yeah, I love that one, bro. Good one. I apologize to the fans for not giving him one too. He should have had 2 L's this week. So no, definitely, man, definitely, bro. He deserved it.
Yeah. So that's all we got. Thanks for tuning in to another great episode of Hold This L. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate y'all. And that's all we got. So this is Hold This L. I am Cappel.
And I'm Lonnie.
And we out.
Deuce.